Songwriter 2. Is it a classic?
Okay.
Before we get into it, every time we bring somebody on, gotta let them know this thing that we do here. So my mind is like an encyclopedia for all this music shit, R&B, hip hop, rock, all that shit.
Okay.
As we go through these albums, I'm not gonna look at it and I'm gonna tell you how much it sold. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm gonna see how accurate I am off my brain, not looking at it.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and just real quick give an example for anybody that's brand new showing up to the WNBP podcast. I'm J Focuz. Bones is going to give us a sort of accurate prediction, close to probably accurately, almost on point. So we did on episode 49, Future Sex Love Sounds, Justin Timberlake. That album, he guessed it was, what was it, 740?
Yeah, I think I said 740.
And it ended up 680. So very close, just from kind of being familiar with the music and keeping up with it, and that's his whole thing. Hopefully he's more on point, because we got a whole bunch of these bitches. We ain't did a discography in a second, but we gonna try our best to smooth our way through this. So shout out to everybody that's here for the first time. So we gonna go ahead and open this up for the first. Do you want to go? Do you want to do? Okay, well.
Yeah, sideline story. We only do albums, and we gonna figure out today if J. Cole has a classic album. And if he does, how many classic albums does he have? So the first album you said is the sideline story.
It's crazy.
What was that? 2012.
Yeah, most of the singles started coming out in 2011.
And the first singles was. Go ahead.
First singles include "Work Out," "Can't Get Enough," "Mr. Nice Watch," which I don't remember ever hearing on the radio in Michigan, but whatever the fuck. And "Nobody's Perfect," and that came out in February 7th, 2012, according to Wikipedia, which is the source of all information.
This album sold 258,000 copies the first week.
All right. Where are we gonna find it? It's probably gonna be at the top. If it ain't, we move down. We at 218, but we're on the way. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't his. I think everybody sort of knew that this wasn't what we expected from Cole on his first go round.
And I think that this was around the time we really started getting more prep to pro rappers. You know what I'm saying? So, because even if you look like Drake, Big Sean, everybody's first album was kind of like, yo, rookie season, for real. We was really comparing it to your rookie season. We weren't doing that before. So, it's kind of fits because it's a sideline story. Kind of fit.
But yeah, I mean, so it's a whole lot going on here, and we can kind of run through the actual track list briefly, just see what's really happening, because he did immediately kind of have Dollar in the Dream 3, wait, is that the second one? No, that's the third one, because that's the second one was on the first mixtape. So this project, it was a letdown from the first track. It's like, you can't do this so fast. Like, I understand that it was something that made you what you were, but don't give me the first track that's pretty much the intro, because the intro wasn't really an intro. The part 3 of the song that we loved you from, like, that's low hanging fruit as it gets. Like, you can't do that. I don't think it's really later, but it's not something that you should do at the start. So I wasn't really happy when I started this album. What y'all got?
He had a track. He was coming off the heat from the track with Jay-Z on Blueprint 3. You know what I'm saying? Everybody like, yo, who's this? You know what I'm saying? And then you get another track with Jay-Z, and it's like, yo, Mr. Nice, Mr. Nice, watch you get kicked off the song. Like, come on, man, what's going on? Like, this album, I wasn't in at all, like, for real. Like, but you knew J. Cole had a lot of potential, so you gave this a pass. You know what I'm saying? Especially being like college age around this time. You know what I'm saying? So you kind
especially since he gave us the joint right before it. So
right.
it's like we knew what he was capable of.
Crazy.
But the label shit is what made him give us this. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't tripping off it, but none of us was fucking with this for real.
Yeah, so
That's
What
real.
you give it out of? What you give it out of a 5?
I'm not even gonna rate it. I'm not even gonna hold you up because I didn't listen to it enough to rate it. I'm not even gonna give it a rating.
that is 2.
Sound about right.
Man, some of these singles was hot, bro.
I agree.
So I'm gonna give it a 2.8. Almost.
The In the Morning joint, nigga, I was like, oh, I'm finna fuck some hoes off this.
You know what I'm saying?
But we all knew if you was fucking with them, it was recycled. We knew. That's like the early equivalent of people doing like freestyles on Hot 97 of their verse from their album. Eventually, niggas had to stop doing that. Like, it was just something that was in the early stages of doing. He tried to make it look fly. A lot of people did, but at the end of the day, come on, man. Like, it's LeBron James executive producing 2 Chainz' album and shit. Like, it's like whatever the fuck you want to say, sure. So, is what it is. Let us know. Is this a fucking classic? Because I don't think it is. It's a motherfucking 2.5. Best. Yeah, we averaging out to about 2.68. Let us know in the comments if we right or wrong. We doing this on the fly. But
Pothead theories.
yeah, and it's not even a theory. We just guessing. So, next album, Born Center. God
I
damn.
actually went to this concert.
Okay, tell us about it.
Wale was there. I actually and Boss opened up for them, and that's when I started listening to Boss. From that point on, like, yo, he's tight. You know what I mean? This white dude kept trying to. He spilled a beer on me, trying to ask me, can he smoke some weed? You know, man, get your bitch ass on.
Hey, look, I don't know who needs to hear this shit, dog, but hey, you can smoke at concerts. Like, just do it. Like, you might have to like hold the blunt down or something every time the security come around if nobody else is. But if the concert's big enough, just light that shit up, man. Fuck that.
This is a Adele concert or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
You might be in trouble then. They might put you out. But if you're at the 85 South show, blow. Like, smoke your weed, cuz. Like, what are you doing?
Man, 235,000 copies first week. No, 238 because this came out the same week. Wale and Kanye came out with Yeezus. And what was...
Damn, that was the same week.
Yep. And he wanted to do that. He wanted to feel like I'm a big dog, so I'm gonna go against Kanye. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, what'd you say?
238.
297.
Damn.
So you almost there.
Because you switched it. No, I said 238.
Oh shit. Hey, and I'm gonna run that back. Cause y'all gonna see. I'll run it back when I do the edits. But and I'll make sure I cut that out and tag you in it as like a promo clip. But yeah, so Born Center, man, amazing project. Came out in 2013. Singles include Power Trip, Crooked Smile. Again,
Forbidden Fruit was not
Forbidden
a single.
Fruit
I never heard that.
wasn't a fucking single.
I don't mean it wasn't a single. So a single, and this is something I had to learn dealing with these fucking labels. A single is anything that they put specific money behind. Whether that's marketing, a video, a visual, whatever the fuck it is, whether they trying to get it in movies, all of that shit. If the album decides, besides this album, we're also gonna put some money behind this specific song, it's a fucking single. That's it. It don't matter if you heard that motherfucker on the radio. You know, it's so many singles that were singles that I didn't know were singles.
Same.
You know what I'm saying?
Same.
But
We come every episode. We
feel
do
me?
the same shit. It's like, this wasn't no fucking single.
right. But it was, nigga. That if they put money behind that bitch, it was a single.
Right. Yeah, I mean, hey, we are pretty much in what is the equivalent, at least in the years of when music first started until maybe the 90s, we were a music desert. We got everything last. Nobody said, yo, you know where we need to be popping at? Detroit is lit out there. Like, nobody fucking ever said that in music history. And unless you were fucking with Motown. Unless, and that was very special.
You had to be fucking specifically with Motown.
That was a, yes.
Motown and the niggas around. No, it was Motown. You
Goddamn right.
On with Motown or affiliated.
All right, man. Shameless plug. Hey, build that Rock and Roll Hall of Fame section in Inkster for the Marvelettes, because they was from the motherfucking town. Shout out to motherfucking Inkster, dog. We had some fucking legendary shit happen there. Malcolm X, all type of shit, man. So shout out to the town, bro. I fuck with y'all.
But back to the album. So this album, for me, I hold it close to my heart because I went to the concert. You know what I mean? I seen the whole setup and everything. He definitely took a jump. I think this is what we was expecting his first album to be. It was one of those type things. A couple of these songs I can do without. You know what I mean? But I love storylines when it comes to artists, for real. So it's like this was a part of the storyline. So for this album, I'm definitely giving it a 5.
Beats crazy.
Not good enough. And so I'll go ahead and jump in a little bit because, I mean, it was a lot of shit that we were expecting. This was one of the harder intros. This was the intro that I wanted from the first album, definitely with Illuminati. And then just to go further into it, Land of the Snakes and shit like that, like fire versus fire joints. But at the end of the day, we got the Kendrick feature and we got a fucking hook. Cop out. Who was afraid? Let me know in the comments. I'm ready to argue with you niggas. Anyway.
So who was it then? Who was afraid?
I don't know, man. It looks like Kendrick was just like, yo, this is what I got. I recorded a verse. Top Dog said don't send it. I didn't. And I gave you a hook instead of the verse that I gave you. Boom. That's what you wanted. A feature. I gave it to you. So, moving forward, it was a bunch of different shit on here that I really was fucking with. But at the end of the day, this was the imperfect sale of fucking Cole albums. Like, this shit wasn't all the way what it was supposed to be. However,
What is this nigga talk about, man?
it was very near and dear to what Cole fans really take and appreciate from Cole.
Which one was imperfect? The one with the orange lips?
Yes, right before the white skin.
Okay.
Oh, that's another episode of the Wake and Bake podcast featuring Dr. Umar and
What you
shit.
give it? What you give it?
And you said 4?
So yeah, no. And so I do have to give it. I have to give it a 4.25. I'm being weird. Yes. And so I have to give it a 4.25. It was good. The singles did what they were supposed to do. Let Nas down. He did a lot of shit here. It just wasn't enough in the culture for people to really remember it and rock with it like that. On the time base. Because nobody's banging fucking Power Trip. Nobody's saying turn Power Trip on. Like, so.
I don't feel like it was anything too memorable from this album. But I feel like I'm biased when it comes to Cole in general. So I don't know if I'd be the best person to speak on his music just in general. But
you here. We just want your opinion.
But I really appreciated Let Nas Down when I heard it. Because it was like a track that I wouldn't expect to hear from anybody, to be perfectly honest. Like the content of the song, I wouldn't expect to hear that. Especially when you on that level already where that person could actually reach out to you.
You can talk to him.
You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't expect that shit at all. You know what I'm saying? So I fucked with the fact that he was even vulnerable enough to do some shit like that. But as far as the project goes, there's two things about Cole that's always bothered me. And I feel like every artist has this, but some of them get out of it quicker than others. But Cole specifically has one of these problems because he produces most of his stuff. And that's the fact that his beats is not as cold as he thinks they are. Right? So his beats, I feel like he raps way better than his beats are. But because he can produce his projects, he does. And it's like, bro, just give it all to No ID. Let him spruce these bitches up.
And so is that why, I guess, ultimately we came to the origin of he's similar to Nas because the beats could be better.
You see what happened when the beats got better? With Nas?
So did he.
You feel me?
So did he.
You see what happened with Hit Boy?
Goddamn right.
Yeah, that nigga 2 bangers back to back.
Goddamn right.
I would have never thought Nas would be the top 5 albums that I heard last year. Never in my life. 50-year-old Nas, nigga. Got his tooth fixed and everything. Nigga, I would have never thought no shit like that. But the other problem that J. Cole suffers from, and I said every artist goes through this, but sometimes they get out of it a lot quicker. Whenever you think about that artist and you got comedians who do like impersonations, they always do a certain version of an artist, right? So when people copy Drake, they always do the hand waving Drake, something 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 sound like that Drake, right? When they go to Cole, it's got a wicked smile, like the way they enunciate shit weird. It's always a part in their career where they get so in they hold on, what you want to call it? In they stride of them, whether it's between their first and the second album going platinum or some shit. They do good on their first album, and they like, okay, I need to keep this shit going into the second album. And you find similarities between them, and then eventually they stop giving a fuck about the fact that they did good on their first and second albums. They try some different shit, and then after they try the different shit, they get into their bag.
Yep.
But these first 2 albums from Cole, he was that quintessential, if I could copy you, this is what I'm going to sound like, Cole. And I hated that Cole.
But that is what it took.
Yeah.
That's what it took.
Yeah.
You had to literally play the balancing act and go, hey, I gave them the lowest tier of what I can give them before, according to the fans. Mm-hmm. I have to give them almost what is the highest tier. And I think he kind of accomplished what he was trying to do. He sort of overshot with the amount of songs he put out. He could have put some of them songs from the deluxe actually on the actual album, removed some of them songs from the album, and it might have turned it into what could be possibly his best project if he would have done it in reverse order. However, he came out with the deluxe. Label asked it of him. He had to hold him back. So have you ever had a situation where you've had to say, you know what, I'm not even going to give it all as far as the musical best that I have because I just want to introduce myself. I kind of want to give people my musical identity.
I have, just for the simple fact that, like, I've seen artists that give niggas everything on the first go-round. The audience that he's giving it to receive it well too, but they don't realize with artists like that give a lot emotionally the first time around, that mean that it ain't too much to pull from moving forward. You either gotta go through more shit and pull from that, or you gotta keep regurgitating the same story over and over again. It's like what happened with Eminem.
And that tends to be maybe what happens with most artists when they go through they shit, when they dealing with the majors and actually getting signed and becoming these people from the streets. It's like it's a whole different type of relationship, Beanie Siegel style, where it's like it all gets misconstrued and fucked up. People start making mistakes. We start losing people, like we lost Snooty Wild not too long ago. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot of shit going on. So to jump back in, I honestly gotta say once again, like maybe 4.25. This shit is so close to his classic, it just wasn't it. What you got?
I said I'm biased, man. I don't know what I'd give it to be. I guess if I gotta give it something,
It's crazy.
for me, I'm gonna say like 3.8.
Okay.
I say 3.8.
We go, but not it. Not even it. So we moving. And so Next album.
2014 Forest Hills. This is one of his highest selling albums. I wanted to say it sold like almost 500,000. Like
First week?
yeah, almost like 4 something.
About 150,000 off, 353 copies first week.
Damn, I'm off today.
Yeah, it's all good. We'll get back on point. Apparently, and I'm not just saying that. That's the first single. Apparently, Wet Dreams, No Role Models, Love Yours, all singles coming from Forest Hills Drive. One of those albums that he kind of worked into 3 years worth of singles. Apparently really wasn't on the radio like that. I don't remember it, but Wet Dreams immediately was.
It was Grammy nominated.
I just don't, I mean, you know, Grammy nominated, but it's like, I don't remember getting in the car and turning it on. I had to see her at that time. So right, I was riding around in the truck, like, doing shit, like, I don't remember hearing it, so it is what it is.
I was tapped in, as the kids said. I was tapped in, so.
Back in 2014. But, hey, so it's a bunch of different shit going on here. The songs, just January 2018, Wet Dreams, 03 Adolescence, A Tale of Two Cities, Fire Squad, which lost his luster and time, Saint Tropez, GOMD, No Role Models, Hello, Apparently, Love Yours, and even the fucking crooning on the final track, Note to Self, was fucking hard. This shit was something of unpredictable and unexpected fucking classic. And I'm gonna give it to it right now. Fucking classic, nigga. Classic. Classic again. Nigga, classic again. One more time, nigga, cause we powering up. This shit is what artists strive to do. It is the culmination of the 2 albums prior to it, and it is what we would have expected by this point. He didn't let us down again with the second one. By the time he gets here, the Forest Hills Drive, he is perfect fucking set.
Finish him.
Man, for me, I think by this time, I think he figured it out. I think with his rollout and everything, we still was kind of questioning, like, is he gonna give us another Born Sinner? I mean, that's what I was thinking, you know what I mean? But it was like, I think he met expectation this time. I don't even think it exceeded expectation. It was like, finally, this is what we was waiting for you to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what we were waiting on, bro. We waited all this time for this. This is what we wanted from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? I think it was like one of those moments, like, every song on here, like, even his production, you know what I'm saying, was like better than his previous 2 albums.
You see it say it's less cold.
You know what I'm saying?
It's more other shit.
So, the songwriting, the structures of the song, the structure of the album, you know what I'm saying? The content of talking about everybody in this town and how it's a classic album, man. What are you talking about?
Go!
I feel like this joint was his, if you're reading this, is too late. It kind of plays into what I was just talking about earlier. Niggas always have that, if they get good on their first album, they always have that first album, them trying to recreate the first album with the second one, and then getting tired of that shit on the third one, them trying some different shit, and then on the fourth and fifth, that's when they on their stride. But this one is when he finally got in his bag. And from this point forward, he been in his bag. But the same could be said about Drake. This is too late.
Whoa. Time out. Look, this is our equivalent of Drink Champs, yo. We not doing that here. This is about fucking him. This is J. Cole's fucking classic, undeniably here at the board of the Wake and Bake directors. We just are here every episode to be the Wake and Bake board of directors. Depending on who we get here, we trust a judgment to say, hey, based on who we are, this album is a classic. No matter what we said before or have seen in the past, this is it. So we gonna move forward to Yikes, something that just people weren't expecting. I don't even think he was. It kind of was like something that only somebody's specific eyes should have saw. And they didn't just see it. We all got a chance.
So you weren't trying to phone calls with your chick, bro?
Man, fuck all that shit. Fuck all that, nigga. Don't guess the fucking album sales. It's okay. Cause whatever is sold, it don't matter in conjunction to what the project was. Because hey, at this point, if it sold 100 million or one.
Song with J. Cole going off on the versatility.
Of course not. Of course not. Nigga, what are you talking
That
about?
whole story is crazy. I'm here.
I mean, okay. So for the people listening who just might not know, what do you know about that whole situation?
About that beat, that song?
The producer was on some bullshit.
Basically, so the producer who made the J. Cole song was on live making the beat. And the nigga who made the Bryson Tiller song was watching his live,
I remember.
knew what sample he used, and was like, you know what, I'm going to use it the same exact way, except I'm going to get it out there quicker.
And a little tweak.
He got it to Bryson Tiller. Bryson Tiller dropped his first, and niggas thought this dude was copying the Bryson Tiller dude, but it's actually the other way around. It's just he got in before, way before.
All right, so
Shit crazy.
I'm glad y'all learned something new. And I'm about to run through it.
This is
Go
the
ahead.
equivalent to an extended play. Like, it's like his version of a playlist. His version. This junk is like it's a couple. It's a cool moment. He just kind of sped us something real quick. You know what I mean? But
Yeah. Hey,
he could have kept it.
hey. For whom the bells toll, now I was fucking with that. I was fucking with that. From the start. The whole vibe he built, I'm like, alright, I see where he's taking us. He's taking us somewhere. And then everything else. Deja Vu was cool. Neighbors was a great moment.
Deja Vu, the joint when he was talking about basically low.
Put your feet in the sky if you want it, nigga. And put your finger in the sky if you want it. So that is what was this album. He had Elite all over the place going crazy, but even Elite couldn't bring it out of him. Even fucking Muhammad's fucking addict couldn't bring it out of him on this one. Sometimes you have to tap into a different source or go somewhere else. It's not always lean on what made you great prior. And because of that, this shit is a fucking 2.
Damn, bro. Kind of pretty close to mine. I was gonna say a 2.5. So
I didn't really even count this as an album. I didn't think this was an album, to be perfectly honest.
wow.
It's just like the rollout for it. It didn't seem like it just wasn't an album to me. Like for me personally, I didn't count it.
It's an album, and you hear on the Wake and Bake podcast, and they want to know, what do you think? Is this a classic or no? You don't have to even rank it as a number.
I don't think it's a classic.
We go. So, I think that was the last one. Is there any more that we supposed to do?
KOD
Okay. Was KOD, is it old enough?
2018.
No, nigga, we can't do that shit. So tune in sooner than later, and we'll be able to do KOD here on the Wake and Bake podcast. Maybe, yeah, a look, 7 years. Give us 7 years. We'll be back, and we'll go ahead and knock that shit out for y'all, man. This is what y'all come here for. Y'all came here in the future, from the past, or the present. Who the fuck knows? I'm high. How are you? My name is J Focuz.
I am your auntie's confidant.
Saji, okay, Saji got it.
And this is
The Wake and Bake podcast.